Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the very best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
Oh my God.
Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped.
As the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA, ID Life provides its members with high-quality ingredients backed by pure science.
It's science.
Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with Dustin about how you can reach your goals today. That's rockinthatidlife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in their awesome tap room. That's Center Ice Brewery, located in Midtown St. Louis. Let's go Blues! Welcome to Season 9, Episode 35 of Let's Go Blues Radio. This is the live post-game show following the Blues and Wild game this evening. The Blues taking the Wild to the woodshed a little bit, 4-0 in this game, and Husso putting on a clinic in net. This is the fully vaccinated, often imitated, but never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast. Please check out our sponsors, manscaped.com, rockinthatidlife.com, and centericebrewery.com. They help make this show a lot easier to produce, and more importantly, they have some great products and services, so check them out. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. This is franchise episode number 301 all the time. Number 300 is in the books, on our way to number 400. And again...
and man, did it take a while to put 300 in the books.
And these aren't 20-minute shows we do. We put out some hefty weekly blues content to the tune of an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours longer for shows.
4.5 hours.
4.5 for season episode 300. A special,
by far our longest show ever, right?
Could be one of the longest hockey podcasts ever made. Individual
that
shows.
Is quite possibly very true.
I mean, yeah. So how do you get in depth? How do you get in-depth quality blues talk in a 20-minute show? How does it happen? It's hard to do.
Well, I would ask how you get it in a 4.5 hour show too, because I think we had about 40 minutes of hockey talk.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, that's true. We had other stuff going on. We do go
talking
off
about
tangents.
owls and barns, and
yeah,
I don't even know what else we talked about.
I don't remember the day after you were like, "Hey, remember this conversation?" Nope, I don't.
Yeah. I brought because I went and mowed the lawn the other day and listened.
Is that a euphemism, or did you actually mow the lawn?
What's that?
Is that a euphemism, or did you actually mow the lawn?
No, actually mowing the lawn. Yes, and I was listening and I'm like, man, I don't remember this. I don't remember that. I don't remember this. I'm like, ooh, we had a little much to drink during that episode.
I had a hard time finishing. Reading the last copy. Yeah. Reading the last bit of copy was like, I'm tripping over words. To interact with the show on social media, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just do a search for us on the internet. If you can listen to a podcast, you can certainly search the internet. Check out our Discord server at letsgoblues.com/Discord, where you can voice or text chat with us or other Blues fans before, during, or after games. We're dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the show, smash the bell, so you'll get notifications when we do go live. No Bill tonight, just Jeff and I tag teaming it. You up for this, Jeff? Did you bring your A game? Because Husso did tonight.
No, I think I probably have about my D- game. Is that okay?
That's all right. Well, Husso's A and your D-.
I usually have my F game, so I think that's a step up from what I usually bring.
Right. Well, I mean, you're only as strong as your weakest link. That's why we're a D- podcast.
Great point. Great point.
Announcements. You got the Ponder Cup coming up this weekend, correct?
Yeah. So this is the last time that I'm going to hold it without gloves on. But here's the Ponder Cup, because I can't hold it the day of. It's like getting married. You can't see the bride before the wedding. I do not allow myself to hold this or carry this without gloves on the day of the tournament. I have to win it first. So, yes, Ponder Cup tournament coming up this weekend, folks. It's long anticipated. Supposed to take place last November, but obviously the pandemic had different plans for us. But we are getting it in this year. We're actually going to have two this year. We'll have one later at a date to be named later, probably sometime in December. Anybody who wants to come out, Queenie Park, Midwest Sport Hockey, right there at the end of the drive. If you ever driven down Queenie Park and the main drag there off Weedman, come on down, watch some bad hockey, drink some beer, eat some food. They got hot dogs, they got pizza, they got hamburgers, they got fries, whatever you want. And again, bad hockey. We got a raffle going. That's actually the big announcement I should probably make for this show is if you would like to get in our 50-50 raffle to benefit bethematch.org, which most Blues fans know what that is, but it is a very, very near and dear to my heart organization. Bethematch.org, 50-50 raffle benefits that. You can buy tickets, and we are the first year ever. We are taking tickets before the tournament as well as during. So if you are not planning on coming, you can still win. Just PayPal me or Venmo me, PayPal jponder94@gmail.com or Venmo at jponder94. It's $6. I'm sorry, $5 gets you 6 tickets and so on, but it's typically $1 a ticket. Buy as many as you want. We've already had a few people, including the wonderful and beautiful Miss Amy, who Kurt's pretty fond of as well. She's already bought some tickets as well. So if you are interested, go ahead and reach out to me and just put in the notes Ponder Cup or Ponder Raffle, whatever you want to say, as long as you clarify that's what it's for. And that way I'm not just going to see it and say, oh, somebody's just giving me $50. This is nice. But anyway, come on out. Enjoy the tournament. Hope to see some of you out there. Austin Lynch, friend of the show, will be participating, as well as listener Leon, listener Jason. A lot of great guys who listen to the podcast will be out there as well. So definitely look forward to seeing many of you out there.
I won't be playing this year, but I will stop by for a while. That's the plan.
Really? That's good news.
I'm coaching my daughter's softball team. She has a doubleheader that day, 9 and 11 o'clock, and there's a team picture day. But after that's all said and done, I think we're going to head on over there and hang out for a bit. So
good.
We'll check it
awesome.
out.
We look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Let's see if maybe your daughter will be the big winner for the 50-50 again.
Well, she won't be there, but I will be there. Amy and I will probably be there. So
okay. Awesome.
Yeah, and it's going to bother me a little bit to watch and not play. I'm not going to lie. So,
well, get yourself ready because, like I said, I think late November or early December, I think we'll be having the second one for this year. So, get ready for that.
That's why I was going to sign up this year, this time, but I wanted to wait until my daughter's softball schedule came out because I did not. I figured there might be a conflict, and there was. It's the busiest softball day of the year. So. It is what it is.
Oh boy. Yep. Yeah. That's why I'm surprised you said you're even coming at all. And I know there's a tournament out of town for a lot of ice hockey players as well. So again, if you're wanting to contribute to the cause, Venmo, PayPal, the best way to do that. And that money will go right to Be the Match. Half of it will go to Be the Match, other half to the winner.
Andrew Tykerson in the YouTube chat says, how to get in-depth hockey talk in a 20-minute show, 31 thoughts.
I'm a bad hockey podcaster. I've never listened to 31 Thoughts.
I think bits and pieces a couple times. I can't recall how in depth they get. Don't they go off like a general topic and just talk for like a one topic for 20 minutes? I think my comment was if you want to talk in depth about the Blues in general in 20 minutes, how do you do that? That's a hard thing to do. Talking about the last game, talking about news, talking about prospects. There's just so much to cover. Granted, we waste a lot of time at the beginning of the show, like we're doing right now. But right. But if we got right into it, we're talking 40 minutes. If we just talked, boom, got right to it right off the bat. No ads, no advertisers, no nothing. No
Today in Blues history.
No Blues history. No beers the episode. No fun other stuff. That'd be tough. It'd be tight.
Let's be honest too. As much as we like to joke that we sit around and don't get into hockey talk right away. Today in Blues history is one of my favorite things to do on the show. Reminisce about old Blues days. I mean, I think, I'm going to venture to guess some of our listeners like that as well.
Today's a good one.
Today's a really good one.
And we'll get to today in Blues history after we talk about the Blues tonight and the playoffs and stuff. So that'll be later in the show. We moved to the end of the show
real quick, but before we move on to the next thing, first of all, a couple happy birthdays I want to say. I'm turning into Jimmy the Cat Hayes here. Big happy birthday to Bernie Federico. Big happy birthday to Colton Pareko and Mr. Jeremy Boyer, the wonderful blues organist. Also his birthday today. So big birthday celebrations go out. I should say friend of the show, Bernie Federico. So very cool. Go ahead.
No, I would say you should. That's a good point. Friend of the show.
We also have a couple comments that I want to get to. Austin Lynch also playing in the Ponder Cup this weekend. You ain't winning the Ponder Cup this Saturday. You definitely are not, son. So back off. I will make sure. I will not have a listener of the show win the cup. Yeah, if I don't. So there's no way.
So you're saying it's rigged? It's fixed.
It's totally fixed. It's got my name on it, of course. Even though I haven't won since the first year. Andrew Tykeson adds, perhaps another year, I'm 1,000 miles away. Well, Andrew, I will tell you, typically it is held in the weekend before Thanksgiving. So keep that in mind. Typical years, weekend before Thanksgiving is when we always have it, just because that's a good time for people coming in town and all that. So if you really are serious and you're interested, keep that in mind for most years. That's when we play.
Andrew Tykeson says, I'm just busting balls about the 31 Thoughts thing. But the thing about 31 Thoughts is that if you look at some of these sites that will rank podcasts based on listens and whatnot, or the formula they use, I'm not quite sure, but they will rank podcasts based on popularity, generally speaking. Ours goes up and down because we're regional, right? So, but there's sometimes on I think it's chartable.com. Every once in a while, we'll on the upswing, we'll be in top 10, top 20 in the U.S. as far as hockey podcasts go, as far as listens. But and that we haven't had that in a while. Hadn't had that since was it last season? But we were ahead of 31 Thoughts there for a while. Now that's
we were
probably a very I'm not sure how precise their rankings are, but it's just fun to look at. Official beers of episode number 301. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle is at cprice12. Jeff's is jponder94. And Bill, who is not here, is Billy Blue Note 33. Jeff, what are you drinking tonight?
Out of my Duff beer glass, because I've been quite the Simpsons kick as of late. I am drinking. I mentioned it on last week's show as my second beer. Four Hands Statewide Hazy Pale Ale. This is a limited edition beer. If you've had the Citywide, it tastes very similar. It might even be the same brew. I don't know. But this actually benefits the Veterans Community Project. Very
nice. You had that last week or the week before?
Yeah. I had it on, I think it was my second beer last week.
Mine this week is the Sam Adams Porch Rocker, which is a lemon radler. Seasonal beer from Sam Adams. And if you guys have had it before, it's really good. I mean, if you like summer beers, it's one of my favorites. I can read the back. It's a Porch Rocker. This beer was inspired by German cyclists. It's weird. Who mixed beer with lemon lime flavors after a tough ride. So there you go.
Nice.
A little history with the beer. We'll discuss Klim Kostin's arrival in St. Louis and the Jake Walman mess with COVID and the Blues and Wild game after this message from Manscaped. Is there anything better than the fresh mowed grass at the ballpark on opening day? How about freshly groomed balls? Our sponsors at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, are here to help you strike out your bush for good. Talk about the ultimate utility man. Manscaped is like the Nolan Arenado of ball trimmers. It's time to keep your testes fresh and clean with the Perfect Package 3.0, which includes the Lawnmower 3.0 skin-safe electric trimmer, the Crop Preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver spray-on toner for your balls made from soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts, Manscaped even threw in their shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. And speaking of comfort, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs are also included and will bring your boxer game to the next level. It's a whole new balls game, folks, and Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement. Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use promo code LGB. Baseball's back. Don't let your pubes get out of whack. Jake Walman has tested positive for COVID. We got that news a couple days ago. And I was thinking, because this is really strange because he had COVID already and he got the vaccine. So you would think he'd be almost bulletproof to COVID, but nothing's perfect. And I thought after, the positive test, it'd be, it's a false positive. It's gotta be. And they apparently retested and no, he's on the list. So that kind of sucks because he's got to wait now to come back. How long is it? What's the protocol?
I think it's 10 days now. That
sucks because that's going to be what, a good chunk into the first round.
It could be, depending on the Blues start. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. But our last game is tomorrow, and the first round does start on Saturday. So, any point after Saturday, this could. I
would expect maybe a Monday to Tuesday start. Most teams usually get a 4 or 5 day buffer, so I think we'll see a little bit. And plus, like we'll get into, we're gonna see it the North Division still having games going while the other playoffs start. So
yeah. That's crazy.
It is, and we'll get into that later. I'll save my thoughts for that. But as far as Jake Walman goes, does that make you a little nervous? The fact that I know that we can still be carriers, but the fact that I guess if we're a carrier, we're going to test positive. But I wonder if he's showing any symptoms.
Well,
because if he is, that is a little concerning for me.
Well, I don't know if he's showing symptoms. Yeah, if it's passing on. I don't know. They haven't said. The vaccines are not. But they greatly reduce your chances of getting the vaccine, the COVID. But it's not. Even even was it 97% for Pfizer, whatever it is. There's 3% there, and granted, he had it before, but you can get it after you get COVID. It's a lot less likely. That's why I thought he'd be bulletproof after this, but apparently not.
Well, like you said, the fact that he already had it too. For me, it's like I said, I had it last November. I got the vaccine, so I'm like, I'm probably good for a couple of years, right? Until they find a way to make it 100% effective.
How long did he have it?
Probably not.
How long ago did he have it?
I don't know. I'm not
sure. Because they don't know how long your immune system will fight off COVID after you have it. It could be a couple months. It could be 6 months. It could be, they don't know yet. So that's
somebody, the nurse told me when I thought I might have had it after I had my first shot that he said 3 months. You're pretty much good. But he said the fact that you might, which I ended up not having it again after my first shot, but he said your chances are still pretty slim that you would get it after having it within a year. So I'm like, okay, so it's pretty much like definite 3 months. I don't want to say definite, but pretty close to definite. But then there's like a 9-month buffer, I guess, where it's like, well, you still are not very susceptible, but you might still get it.
A nurse told you this?
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't a doctor.
No, it was not.
It was
someone more educated than me.
I'm just saying that I've heard nurses say that COVID, alters your. The vaccine alters your DNA, which it does not. So take the nurses' opinions on like cutting edge information with how long your body is kind of immune to COVID, which they don't really know for sure. They've said this. Recently they don't know how long this stuff goes. So I don't know. Yeah, she does know more about it than I should know more than I do. But
well, it was a he, but yes,
he. Sexist. See, I'm sexist.
Yeah, you are totally, dick.
But isn't the Walman positive test for COVID kind of par for the course for the Blues this season? Because with you had all these just a nonstop cycle of stuff with the Blues, all the injuries, the inconsistent play, Bennington not playing up to par or as well as he probably should play most of the season, and then this happens to Walman right before the playoffs start, and his Sundqvist is gone for the season, but. It's one more thing, but I mean, at least it's not. I mean, and that stinks because Walman hasn't playing very well. So,
couple comments before we move on to the next thing. Austin asked if I can hop on Discord afterward. He has a few questions for me, and the reason I even bring that up on the show is because we have our comment of the show already from Mr. Andrew Tykeson. First of all, Austin, yes, that's no problem. I definitely will. But Austin, he responds to Austin and says, I'll see if I can field this one for you. When a man and woman love each other very much, they do a special hug, and 9 months later, a baby comes. Very nice.
Do a little love, make a little dance. Pretty much get down tonight.
Basically, get down tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. Wild and Blues tonight. Coming into this game, the Blues were 4-1-1 versus Minnesota so far this season, outscoring them 26-19 coming in. Those numbers only got better after tonight. Can we just play Minnesota in the first round? Can that somehow happened, please? No Sammy Blais, no Vince Dunn, no Tarasenko tonight. They're sitting to get healthy and prepping for the playoffs. I'm assuming if the Blues had to win this game to get in, they would have played tonight. Based on the way Brubis was commenting, because he said they're insinuated they're probably going to play tomorrow to just get a game in before the playoffs start, which is good news for those guys.
Well, and they also, we'll get into the person who does play, but Tyler Bozak sat tonight, healthy scratch, not because of play, not because of injury, just, I mean, as much as I say the game's meaningless, so you might as well give your veteran a day off
just
if
to rest.
You can.
Sure. Klim Kostin recalled and dressed tonight. I guess called, not recalled. To recall, he would have been here previous.
Yes.
Unless you count last season. Recalled and dressed. Last season he played.
Yeah, it was last season.
Fresh off of his KHL Gagarin Cup championship, on left wing with this game with Thomas at center, Hoffman on right wing. Coming into this game, this was, I mean, obviously the line to look at. Kyrou, Thomas, Hoffman line was broken up with the addition of Kostin, so it was Schwartz, Shen, and Kyrou, the second line starting the game. I mean, while we're talking about Kostin, I mean, your thoughts on his play in this game? I thought he was okay. There was a couple things I saw fine. A couple things I thought I saw is that, I mean, he was like, "Oh God, what are you doing?" Had a couple chances, hit some people. It's all right.
Yeah, the thing I liked was the hitting. You mentioned him hitting people. He had 5 hits tonight. I think he led the Blues. I thought board play, in just forecheck, I thought he looked good. Maybe he didn't, impress us with a slick goal or even a slick move, but being able to have another body in there that can kind of crash around and bang and play a little bit of that Berube style, I loved it. Not saying I want to see him completely step in on that line for the playoffs. Not even saying I want him in the lineup for game 1. But he looked good, and I think he is, at the very least, your solid 13th forward. You lose a game, you make a couple changes, you can throw Kostin in for the playoffs. I thought he was, and again, I think we'll see him tomorrow night. No reason not to play him.
Right.
So we'll see how he does in a back-to-back situation after a couple travel days and then having to quarantine for a while. We'll see how he does, but overall, yeah, he was fine. I want to see more of him, and I'm excited to see him tomorrow night.
Andrew Tykeson said in the YouTube chat, Kostin was certainly better than Sanford. I defended Sanford a few weeks ago. I'm done with him. He has been invisible almost every night. Kostin makes his presence on the ice known on both ends. I didn't think Sanford was invisible tonight. I thought he was on the puck a lot. I had issues with things he did in the game for sure, but I mean, he had the puck on his stick a lot tonight. I get what you're saying, Andrew, but I wouldn't say it was invisible. I noticed him a lot. Although, granted, I do look for him on the ice too.
No, I do too, and to be honest too, slight defense of him, I guess. Even though I'm not an apologist anymore, I don't like him as a center. I just don't think that's the right position for him. Yes, he's been better this season on the defensive side of the puck, with the exception of some gaffes here and there. But I just don't like him up the middle of the ice. I think his best work is when he's streaking in on the boards, and that he can cut to the middle, make a nice play. Not saying you can't do that as a center, but you have a lot more defensive responsibility. You're not going to be leading a rush as much. And I just don't think that's the right position for him. So, but having said that, I thought Sanford was fine. No problems tonight.
I did.
There was a couple issues. There was one play I can remember in particular where the puck kind of squirted in front, and it was him and Clifford were going at it, and it like bounced off Sanford's skate. Then it bounced off Clifford's skate. And I was like, well, there's your situation where, Sanford has no awareness where the puck is, and Clifford has stone hands. So it's going to happen.
The Blues were killing a penalty, and Sanford had the puck top of the zone and got the puck, tried to skate it out, and he had the puck stolen from him right at the blue line, and the Wild came right back in. And that in a nutshell is Sanford to me. Like you said, Jeff, kind of oblivious of what's going around him, not knowing necessarily where the puck is, not knowing situationally who's around him for Minnesota, because he gets the puck taken from him a lot from behind, from the side. It's just like he has blinders on. I don't get it. This is how I'm yelling at him for that. So, and I, not to nitpick on him, but until he proves he can consistently play better than that, he's going to get nitpicked on. Mm-hmm. The first period, I thought early on in this game, Husso was, you could tell he was quick, aggressive, solid, tight. And it's weird to say aggressive and tight at the same time, but he was aggressive, but he wasn't, you could tell he wasn't, it didn't have a lot of holes through him. He was sliding across. He was keeping his arms down. He was looked good early. And the knock on him this season, if there is one, well, there are knocks on him, but his are goals against early in the games, mm-hmm. which is a problem he's had.
It takes him a while to get into a rhythm. And right off the bat tonight, he was ready to go. It was like
good thing too.
Knew he had to start going for weeks or something. Like you said, Minnesota. When this game started, and they had like 5 shots. If I could snap my fingers, I would. They had 5 shots like that, and it was just boom. They're going to score a goal. There's no doubt in my mind at that point, because they were coming and the Blues had no answer for them, and the Blues have dominated for the most part Minnesota this season. Minnesota has one win in regulation and 1 win in overtime, and it was right away. I thought, well, this is Minnesota's game to kind of come back and show the Blues, hey, we're better than you, we're higher than you in the standings, we've had a better season. And so when they came out like that, I thought, oh hell! And Husso just stood on his. That save he made, that rebound save in front, that was fantastic. One of the best saves we've seen all season.
And Minnesota came out playing like they had a chance to catch, Vegas or Colorado, and they did until the scores were kind of like it was 6-0 Colorado over LA. And it's like, oh, okay, there goes Minnesota's chance to catch them. But Barbashev scores after the flurry by Minnesota early. I think Minnesota had the better of the play easy for the first 13 minutes. Not that the Blues played terrible, but Minnesota was like, just, you could tell they wanted this game early, and they tried to jump on the Blues early. Had a handful of shots. Husso was fantastic. And then Barbashev scores. the Blues had a handful of shots, but not like Minnesota. So Minnesota failed to clear on a couple chances in their own zone. Talbot, I mean, he was hugging the post. It just found a hole. It's one of those things where it happens. It's hard for a goalie to seal off 100% of all the available tiny little spots a puck can go in, and it found a spot.
It's the cliche of just get the puck on net. You never know what could happen, and that's exactly what Barbashev did there. He had a chance to throw it back on net and it went in the net.
Yeah, and he had nowhere else to really put it based on where he was, and he just shoved it on net, and it found a hole under his arm. So it was just one of those things. I wouldn't even call it a bad goal against Talbot, even though I'm sure Bill would, because it went through him. It was kind of a leaky thing. But my gosh, I mean, as a goalie, I thought Talbot did what he had to do. He just, I don't know, he didn't cover 100% of the available space. That's hard to do.
I had to watch the replay 2 or 3 times before I finally really saw where the puck went in. It was just, how did that get through? I mean, we've said that with Binnington before, where it's like, man, he had that whole net covered. How did that puck get through? Yeah. And it was the same thing with Barbashev on that play. That's just a great play. And how about Barbashev moving up to that top line and taking advantage early? I mean, he definitely had some jump tonight. Like, he wants to play more in a scoring role than a shutdown role. So good for him to jump on the board and look like he belongs in that first line, which, let's face it, I think he does. But when Darren Pang asked the great question of, maybe he looks great in that first line, but do you need him more on that fourth line center role? And it's like, he can do both. He's good at both.
It's really nice to see Barbashev on the top line after seeing Sanford on the top line for a few games, which pissed off Blues Nation. It's like, what is going on? The guy plays like shit, and instead of getting scratched like most players would, he gets promotion to the first line. I didn't get that at all. I mean, all he's going to do is drag down that top line. I mean, it's just there's no other outcome. You mentioned Husso's fantastic save, one of the best saves we've seen this season from a Blues goalie, on the rebound out in the slot. I forgot who was trying to poke it on the backhand, but Husso slides across, splits, on his pad on the ice, gets it with the bottom part of the pad. Oh, and then the Blues go down the ice, get a face-off, win the face-off, and then Schwartz scores on the doorstep on a garbage type situation. So how often do you see it? Huge save on one end, go down the ice, score on the other. Demoralizing. I mean, it's got to be, Minnesota's throwing all kinds of stuff at Husso. Nothing's going in. And then he makes a fantastic save, and the Blues score like 30 seconds later, a minute later, down on their own end.
Yep.
Crazy.
And that's what you said it, demoralizing. Like, I think of it on the other end. How often have we seen that, either us playing rec league hockey or just in a Blues game in general? Like, the Blues just have pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure and can't score a goal. And then there's a break the other way and the other team scores. And it's just, what the hell? Like, the Blues have had pressure for 5 minutes nonstop and they couldn't score, So as a Minnesota Wild fan, that has to be, and again, this game is pretty much meaningless for the Wild, but still, you see that happen, you're just, what the hell? Like, that's what it's like in the cards. Okay, we're just not going to win tonight. It's pretty obvious at this point.
So Blues are up 2-0 going into the second period, and so you're wondering how it's going to go, because I mean, as the bugaboo with the Blues has been second period Blues this season. Had a good second period. Minnesota is not a good second period team either. So there's that. But Krug gets his first 5-on-5 goal of the season with, in the second to last game of the season, in a shortened season nonetheless. But still, that's kind of funny. I was waiting. I think I called, I did a random goofy prediction, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 games ago that I think Krug will get his first 5-on-5 goal of the season tonight. Didn't happen, but he got it tonight. And good, because maybe people will stop, jumping on him about his play because he has a goal, 5-on-5 goal now. Second goal of the season, first one's power play.
Well, and it was a beauty play too. I mean, the way that he snuck around, I think it was Jordan Greenway that was covering him. It's an underrated play when a defenseman knows how to crash to the net. It's not an A to B situation. It's a curved line. I got to work around the defender to make sure that I'm open. And as a right-handed shot, he's on the right side, and he just knows if I've just got a little space where somebody can slide me a pass from behind the net, I can one-time it, and boom, I got a good chance. And that was what that was. Like I said, it wasn't just a straight line to the net. It was go around the guy, even if it's on the outside, and give myself a chance to find a way to get an open lane from me to the net. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, and that's what I hope we see more in the playoffs from Krug, because that was a great play.
Talbot almost had it. He's kind of coming across the goal line and had hit him in the chest, kind of hit the arm, and then went in. So he was going the other way, but it did go in. So assisted from O'Reilly and Perron. And then Perron gets his second point of the game a little later in the second period. Scores to make it 4-0. A slapper from almost the top of the circle area. A weird goal by Talbot to give up, I thought. Waved at it, almost like he didn't pick it up in time. Maybe should have. Kind of went by some legs. Didn't look like it hit anybody. But yeah, that was. I think Minnesota fans were kind of on him for that goal, especially. Probably the
I don't
first
think he
goal
expected a one-timer.
No, but I mean, if I'm a Wild fan, I'm mad that he gave that up because it was a.
Oh, I agree.
And the first goal too, even though those kind of crappy little goals.
All
happen.
Right, let me actually go ahead and we're gonna do a little theater here. Kurt, let's say Bill's here. Ask him what he thought about that goal.
It's soft. You gotta as a goalie, you've got to expect that kind of a shot from Perron, who's a shooter. And you got to be able to pick that puck up. It's not deflected. It's from far enough out. You've got time. That was the knock on Allen when he was here, is that he had a really hard time picking pucks up through traffic from far out that didn't hit people. He had a hard time with that, and it looked like Talbot had a hard time with that one. So that's a softie on him.
Well, I was actually wanting you to actually ask so I can impersonate Bill.
What?
Okay, let's just say Kurt just asked.
That's not what you asked me to do.
Here's Bill's response. Bill's response is this. It's
you really got to do this, don't you? Okay, it better be good. Go ahead.
It's just a bad goal. Shades of Don Beaupre. That's my Bill.
Don Beaupre.
Thank you.
Did he play for Minnesota? Beaupre?
No, but
Washington.
I just thought of a crappy goalie.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he was a cap for a while.
He was.
Yeah. That's Beaupre. I haven't heard that in a long time. And again, second period, Husso put on a clinic. What are the shots here? In the by period, let me pull them up. Minnesota had 13 shots in the first, 14 in the second. That's getting peppered. That's 27 shots through 2 periods. That's a lot. If they keep it up, that's 40 shots on goal.
I actually didn't, and I've been one to bitch about the Blues defense this year. I thought the Blues defense still played fairly well. It's just Minnesota just kept coming. Yeah,
I agree. I think Minnesota they didn't give Minnesota a lot of second chances, except for the one save that Husso made. That fantastic sprawl rebound chance, but Minnesota kind of had the Blues back on the heels a little bit early on in the game, but I thought the Blues kind of pushed back, and especially after that Barbashev goal, that kind of gave the Blues momentum, and Minnesota wasn't the same after that Barbashev goal. I don't think, even though they had some shots in the second, they didn't seem like they had that same jump that they had early on in the game. So. Third period, rather uneventful, I'd say. No score, no goals, 4 shots apiece. Blues just shut it down. And, by this time, Minnesota knows that Colorado is up 6-0. So this game is pointless to them. It's not going to matter. They had to win both these games.
Do they? Colorado, do you think they knew that at that point that Colorado?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You think so?
There's scores in the arena. Oh, sure. Yeah, on the board. Sure.
Yeah, I guess they're paying attention.
Would you look? You would look.
I'd be looking. Oh, hell yeah, I'd be looking.
They know.
I know that coaches say they don't and say they tell them not to, but yeah, they do. You're
That's
right.
It's right there on the ribbon board. They can all you look up. They look.
Yeah. I want to add before we get to, because I know we're wrapping up this game here. Okay. Here's what the Blues need to do: hire a hypnotist and have him work with Marco Scandella. Tell Marco Scandella every game is against the Minnesota Wild, because I feel like ever since he's come here, and not that he's bad any other night, but I just feel like he turns his game up another notch when he plays against his former team. He looked fantastic tonight. He looked fantastic in the 2 games against them a couple weeks ago. And I'll add too, I know I said this I think last week, that I think to end the season, Marco Scandella has been one of the best Blues players. I think he has really stepped his game up and looked like the guy we thought we were getting last season. Again, not that he's ever really been bad, but I just think that he's one of those guys who has ramped.
It's the worst trade in Armstrong's history.
Trade ever. Yep.
Worst trade ever.
Yep, definitely worse than anything else we've seen.
Yeah, because if you got your nose in an advanced stats book, apparently that's what you come up with. Worst trade in Doug Armstrong's history ever.
Yep, that's not true. But yeah, he's played great. But man, against Minnesota, I hope we see them in the playoffs, because I think we'll see Marco Scandella put up a couple goals against them. He looked great.
How great! I mean, to me, for me personally, I know that we've disagreed on who we want the Blues opponent to be in the first round in the past few weeks. But for me, I mean, if Colorado wins tomorrow night, the Blues will play Colorado in the first round. That's of the two, of Vegas and Colorado. I want Colorado. So that means Vegas plays Minnesota, and Minnesota has played really well against Vegas this year. Vegas has only beaten them one time. So how cool would it be for the Blues to knock off Colorado? Could happen. And then Minnesota to knock off Vegas, and then Blues and Minnesota in the second round. That is the perfect scenario. And based on what we know now, I mean, if you want to look at things through rose-colored glasses, we can. The Blues have outplayed Colorado in 5-on-5 this season. They've outscored them. So there's that. They got that feather in their cap. Stay out of the box. They have a legit shot to beat them. I mean, granted, playoffs are a different animal. Teams step it up. I get it. But we have to go by this season's stats, more or less, just to kind of get an outlook on the playoffs. And that's what we're looking at. So Colorado scares the shit out of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're weak by any means. But I think, keep it 5-on-5. That's how we won the Cup in 2019.
Okay. This is really hard for me to say.
Yes.
It took 301 episodes, but I'm going to finally say something, Kurt, and clip this off, because you'll never hear me say this again.
I won't interrupt you, so there will be no background talking. You go right ahead.
Kurt Price, you are correct. I was wrong. You were right. You are attractive. I am not attractive. I'm trying to quote Billy or Happy Gilmore, but I can't remember the exact quote. But you remember what I'm talking about? He says it's a Chubbs.
Yeah.
But no, no.
You are attractive. I am not as good looking. Something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right. I'm just happy you're willing to admit that. That's what he says. But anyway, Vegas. I still think the Blues can take Vegas, but looking at after this weekend series, you and Bill were probably right. I think Colorado is the right choice. If we were to have either one or the other, the lesser of the two evils for the Blues do seem to match up better against the Colorado Avalanche.
The lesser of two weevils. You got to get the quote right.
True. Yes.
Is that a Far Side comic? The lesser of two weevils.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but I also want to say it was a couple shows ago that 2 or 3 shows ago, I said, "Don't worry, we're in." I think I remember saying that, and I was right about that too. And yeah, I think you said after next game, if they win next game, then you're on board with it. But I was like, "Oh, stop it, we're in."
Yeah, well, that's true. All right, here's the full quote, and this is what you'll probably want to clip off here.
Okay, all right.
All right, Kurt Price. I'm stupid. You're smart. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not very attractive.
I think you covered all the bases. We're good.
There we go.
End scene. We will discuss playoffs some more, and we'll look ahead. We'll discuss playoffs some more. But first, a message from our friends at ID Life.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Put that energy drink down. Don't you know that common energy drinks contain high levels of caffeine and other harmful ingredients that can lead to increased blood pressure and heart rhythm disturbances? Finding that energy you need for everyday activities doesn't need to put your health at risk. ID Life's energy formula doesn't use artificial ingredients or a massive dose of caffeine. Energy's caffeine levels are released slowly over time, allowing for longer periods of energy without crash, not to mention keeping your heart safe. Energy also includes neurotransmitters for mood, focus, memory, and cognitive function. ID Life also added antioxidants associated with brain health for no reason besides perfection. With RockinThatIDLife.com, you can get an energy boost and leave the heart risk behind. Text Dustin at 636-393-8745 or visit RockinThatIDLife.com and throw those gas station energy drinks in the garbage. That's 636-393-8745 and RockinThatIDLife.com and tell Dustin that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
Andrew Tykeson in the YouTube chat says Bennington was really just paraphrasing Kurt Price when he said, "We're coming."
That's true. I think he actually said something about how his favorite podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio, under his breath during one of his interviews.
Right. It's my favorite podcast. Let's go through it. Yeah, you can barely make it out. If you turn the volume up and clean it up a little bit with some post production, software, you can make it out.
Yep, agreed.
He mumbles.
He does.
And he also said the biggest thing tonight was that the Blues held it together in the second period and maintained the better of the play. I agree. And I think also the Blues got a boost from Barbashev's goal combo probably of Minnesota, getting the win, taking out their sails a little bit. And the Blues played well. Congrats to the Blues. Congrats to Husso for the shutout, his first NHL shutout, and the Blues' first shutout of the season.
And a well-deserved shutout.
Oh, he earned it. Yeah.
You think of shutouts in the past, like, I remember Martin Brodeur shutout here. Like, he faced 13 shots in that game, and none were really challenges. The Blues played that tight defensive game. And again, I thought the Blues defense played great tonight, but Husso had to still come up huge at times, and he did. He answered the bell, and he looked fantastic all night. So congrats to him. Rooting for that guy. Love the way he plays the game. Seems like he has a lot of passion for the game too. So good job, Billy Husso.
Probably the best goaltending performance the Blues have had this season. Not just because of a shutout, but I mean, he like you said, he earned it. He earned this.
The Bennington 50 save game was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. But I mean, they could have had 4 or 5 goals tonight. I mean, on him.
Yeah, they could have.
I mean, likewise with Bennington. If he doesn't make those saves early, they might not win this game. Who knows, right? So good game.
Oh, agree completely. I think if he gives up 1 or 2 goals there at the start, which easily could have happened, I don't think the Blues have an answer. I think Minnesota keeps going, and maybe the Blues get one by the end of the first, but it's a completely different ball game. Andrew Tyson, one balls game, right? One more comment from him. We should mention this one earlier, but he says, "My drink of the episode is a celebratory Crown and Coke, celebrating both the Blues' first shutout of the season and Krug's first 5-on-5 goal since donning the note." So yes, I don't have beer in my glass anymore, but cheers to that.
I'm trying to take a picture of my dog. There he is. Okay, he's watching me.
Oh, is Dexter in the room?
Dexter's in the room. Yeah, he walked in.
Oh man, I miss Dexter.
He's just watching me. Yeah, you know when a Great Pyrenees is watching you. You can feel it.
yeah, they're monster dogs to
they
be
are.
Sure.
Monster babies too.
So also while we talk about shutouts, before we move on, I want to say first shutout for almost had the first season without a shutout for the Blues since, and we did fact check this. Was it 86-87, Kurt?
Yes.
We had friends of the show, friend of the show, Greg Millen and Rick Wamsley were the goalies that season. So, and actually, I looked up the stats. They still had pretty decent stats for the era. Just never really got a shutout.
Walmsley was my first favorite goalie.
He was good.
Yeah.
I liked the way he played.
Yeah. Playoff start. We discussed this on Saturday, May 15th, just a few days away. But the North Division doesn't start their season until doesn't finish their season until the 19th because of the extended schedule due to COVID. So this COVID-related stuff. Go ahead, Joe.
I just wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on that? I've seen a lot of, I guess, kind of hot takes from people on, they should just tell them not to play the rest of the season, or they should postpone the playoffs till the regular season's done for all divisions. What are your thoughts?
They should finish the season. I mean,
okay.
I think just because they would any other season, they'd finish it. I know this is a different season than most, but they should finish the season. They kind of that's a thing. They have to finish the season. It'd be weird to me if they didn't. I don't have a good reason why it'd be weird. I just feel like they should.
Does it factor in at all to you the fact that the two teams that will be playing still are not playoff teams? Like I think it's Vancouver and Calgary. I could be wrong on that.
I think you're right, but I mean, I understand the thought of just scratch the games and whatever, but I mean, I can't think of a good reason why I don't like that. I just don't. I just think every team should play the same amount of games, and you know what? Delay it until delay the playoffs until the season's over. I don't know. I understand wanting to get them going. I get that, but you're going to cause a problem later because if other divisions start on the 15th and the North doesn't start until probably the day, they may have playoff games the day of the last game on the 19th. They probably will. They'll probably have their first playoff games on the 19th. But so that's 4 days after the rest of the league starts. That's a few days longer than it should be. And I think they could run into problems later when teams are waiting for other teams to finish their series before they play them, maybe. Sometimes it's a long break anyway, and add a few more days to it, it could happen where a team might be sitting for 10, 11 days, depending on how series work out and things. So I don't know. Well, I wish I had a good answer as to why I think that teams should play the same amount of games. I mean, something about the storybooks and records and team records and things. It's just got to all be full seasons. All the teams every year play the same amount of games. To me.
Well, okay, and listen, we pretty much agree here. First of all, I'm 100% in agreement. They should play all 56 games. I don't care that Vancouver's out of the playoffs, that Calgary's out of the playoffs. I don't care. There's a lot tied into every single NHL game. First of all, you have a Vegas crew. Let's not even talk about the players or the coaches or the training staff. Let's talk about the TV crew that is going to work in I think I said Vegas. I meant Vancouver. Vancouver. And then, you got your people who clean the ice. That's another day that they get paid. They're paid. Those people are mostly paid game by game. So not only are you helping people still work their jobs, you've got bonuses tied into the season. Yes, it's a shorter season anyway, but still there could be a player who, if he hits a certain amount of points, gets a bonus by the end of the year. Coaching records, everything. I don't see why people have a problem with them finishing out the season. Yes, there's not fans in the building. I get that, and that's been a lot of people's complaint. Well, they don't have fans in the building. Why does it matter? It does matter. You're telling me Canucks fans still don't want to see their team finish out the season? If the Blues were out of the playoffs at this point and they were just like, you know what? Blues aren't going to play the last 4 games of the season, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, well, why not? I want to see my team play still. Let's get some rookies in there and see what they got. Like, let's use this time to evaluate some guys. And not getting that, if the NHL just said, nope, you're not going to play those games, I think that'd be bullshit.
how is this different than any other season too? I mean, okay, so Brian Roberts says if I'm a player for those two teams, I'm playing at 25%. I'm not risking injury for a game that means less than preseason games. So how is that any different? How is this season any different than any other season where teams are way out of it? They got 3 or 4 or 5 games left or whatever. They still have to play those games. This season's not any different. They don't cancel games in other seasons, but when teams are way out of it, no chance, and it means nothing, between each other.
What about when the Sabres were eliminated like 4 weeks ago? Is it like, oh, okay, well, Sabres, you just don't have to play anymore? No, that's not how it works.
If they had the gold plan in place, they could, they'd
still be battling.
There would be stuff to play for after you are officially eliminated.
No, so. I don't know. I that's one aspect for me where I agree with you, Kurt, 100%. No, I will say, I actually don't have a problem with them starting the playoffs early. It's a weekend. They want to get some weekend games in. Fans, at least in America, are able to start coming into the stands. They want to get these games started. You've already got Boston. I think Boston's done, right, at this point. I think Washington might be done as well. So they've already got their break in right now. Why give them another 12, 13 days? The
entire East is done.
Yeah. So you might as well just let them, go ahead and get started. I know that you're talking, like you said, maybe you've got some unevenness coming in the second and third rounds, but I think they settle this up by the second round. I think they say, okay, let's say Washington wins their series, and let's say who's another team going to the playoffs in the East? Washington and
Boston,
Pittsburgh. No, let's say Pittsburgh. Right. Let's say Washington and Pittsburgh win their series. And it's like, well, the North Division, they're in game 4, and it's a tie series. I think they'd still be like, you know what? We can give them another 3 days off just to be safe so we can just start everything up in the second round. I think the NHL will settle it up pretty quick. That doesn't bother me either. I think go ahead and get the playoffs started. Let these teams get into their playoff modes. And then, if you have to with the Canadian division, since they're all playing each other for the first 2 rounds anyway, you could probably throw in some back-to-backs, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. Because they don't have fans anyway.
AC Generator says the draft seeding matters, but no reason the Maple division can't start the playoffs earlier than those games. That'd be interesting, too, is to see the playoffs for the North start before the regular season's over.
Yeah,
they could do that. They could do that. I don't have a problem with that. It'd be weird, but it's weird times right now. So that's fine. I mean, as long as they get the games in, that's what matters to me. Some COVID related stuff. The NHL and the NHL Players Association announced Saturday that protocols would be relaxed in the playoffs for teams with 85% of the traveling party fully vaccinated. So by protocols, meaning who players can interact with and stuff like that. So that's interesting. And I guess that's progress, right? I guess if they think that's safe and good, then we can do that. The NHL has applied.
I tell you what, Robin Lehner is happy.
Right. Yeah. Right. I wouldn't have got the vaccine but you just for your own benefit though.
Just get the vaccine, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, the NHL has applied for a national interest exemption with the Public Health Agency of Canada and the federal government of Canada that would allow United States-based teams to cross the border into Canada and Canada-based teams to return to the United States without quarantining. And this would, of course, be necessary starting in the third round of the playoffs. If they aren't able to get this exemption, then it's up in the air right now, but look for third-party neutral sites somewhere in the USA to host the Canadian team that comes out of the Northern Division. So if they're going to waive the quarantine rules, if they're still in effect from the third round, if they won't waive them, then whoever comes out of the North Division will be playing out of a neutral site here in the U.S. somewhere, which will be crazy and will probably piss off all of Canada.
Well, too bad. That's your government at work. No, I you know what I think they could easily do is why not just say again, let's just say it's Washington and Toronto in the third round. Why not just say, okay, and if they have to go this route where they have a neutral site in the US, why not just say, okay, the two Capitals games we will allow in fans, the Capital home games. But the two Maple Leaf home games, we're still going to have it in Washington, but we're not going to allow fans in. Because that would give the Maple Leafs the ability to basically still have the home ice advantage.
You think they would do that?
I don't think so, because I know that Washington would want that playoff revenue. But, I mean, I'm just saying, I think that would be a very easy solution to this.
I don't... that would be interesting. I don't... With the Eastern teams being so close to each other, I don't think it's a big deal to have them somewhere else, but I guess it would...
why not? You've already got the rink made up. You've already got everything in place for TV broadcast.
Well, so do other
say, hey,
cities
when
too.
Toronto's the home team, no fans. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my thought on it.
But then you're going to change the logo at center. You're going to change all that stuff too. I mean,
no, I don't think that matters.
I think if a Canadian team comes down here to play and a U.S. city is hosting that Canadian team, that city is not going to have a team in the playoffs. I think it would be that way they can change out the colors, the logos on the ice, and everything.
Then Canadian teams could just play in Buffalo for the next 20 years.
Well, but
because they're terrible.
But they'd have to put Canadian ads on the ice too and on the boards too.
I don't know. I guess
so. I mean, because that would make sense because.
So you're saying like you could have like the New York Rangers, like Madison Square Garden could be Toronto's home site for the third round.
Sure, I think so. I mean, they could do something different, but I think that'd be a fair way to do it. Just treat that as your home rink for however long you're there. It might just be 2 games. Who knows? But I think you'd probably have to put Canadian ads on the boards. You have to put on the ice. I don't know.
Could you imagine? And again, just using Toronto as an example, let's say they do Buffalo. They say, all right, Toronto, your home arena is going to be in Buffalo. And if they painted a Maple Leafs logo at center ice, imagine how pissed off Sabres fans would be.
Yeah. That'd be. You know what? And I've said on the show before, I love chaos and anarchy. Yep. So let's do it just for the pissed off people on message boards that you can. Oh my god. So we talked about Colorado controlling their own destiny. If they beat LA, they beat LA tonight. If they beat them tomorrow, they finish first. Do you pick against Colorado tomorrow?
No, I'm saying Colorado win it. Let's face them in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying who you want. I'm saying who wins. I mean, you got to pick Colorado.
Oh, if I'm putting money on it.
Yeah. Who picks LA?
And
who picks LA? Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit before the show that maybe there's some Avalanche players saying I'd rather face Minnesota than face the Blues. Not saying they're gonna go out and lay an egg on purpose, but there might be a little bit of that in the back of their mind. But Kurt, I'll go ahead and let you say it. The point you brought, the counterpoint to what I said about that.
My counterpoint would be
remember?
What? No.
Your counterpoint about how Minnesota has beat up on Vegas.
Oh, right, exactly. Minnesota has Vegas has only beat Minnesota one time this season. So I think Vegas, Colorado would probably, that's incentive. That's a perfect storm for us for us to play Colorado, and then for Vegas to play Minnesota. And then if we can knock off Colorado and Minnesota, if the trend continues where they've owned Vegas and they advance to the second round, that is a perfect storm for St. Louis to then play Minnesota, who we've owned this season. I mean, that the path for the Blues to come out of the Honda West is not crazy. If Colorado wins tomorrow, the path of the Blues to win the West is not crazy based on what could happen, actually happen.
Yep. To quote Jeremy Jam from Parks and Rec, if that all happens, that's a win, 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 win.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we're in the conference final, whatever the conference is. Who knows who we're playing? There's no conferences right now. We don't even know.
Really wonder,
we don't even know who we're playing.
Really,
you would think it would be determined, right? Which division we're going to play?
I wonder if it's going to be. Let's see what teams come out of it, and if it's, if it's let's say it's Edmonton. Okay, you're going to play the West team, and if it's Toronto, well, you're going to play the North team. But then again, you could have, let's just say, St. Louis, Tampa, Boston, and Toronto. Then what do you do? That's 3 Eastern Conference teams. So I don't know. I don't know what they do, but I wonder if that's what they're doing. They're waiting to see, well, can we still line this up by conference when there's 4 teams left?
Andrew Tykeson says, logistically speaking, to paint a different logo on the surface below the ice, it takes 3 days. Melt the ice, dry the surface, paint, dry the surface, layer new ice. Maybe. I haven't really thought about exactly how long it takes.
I don't think they do that.
I don't think that takes that long. I think they can put a new actually, to be honest, I know they paint underneath the ice, but I've also seen them bring in sheets to put down to underneath the ice. Like, it's not painted, it's just a material that they roll out. So there's that too.
Just get a giant fat head. Just lay it right there at center. That's all you need.
Right. Maybe something to do with the ice and how it adheres to the paint as opposed to some vinyl or whatever they put down. 3 days. I have not researched the exact turnaround. I thought it was faster than that, but I could be wrong. But that is something to consider. But 3 days isn't that long because honestly, they would give them they'd have a couple weeks notice for all this stuff because if they would play in a city that doesn't have a team in the playoffs, they'd have plenty of time. This is not going to be a thing until the 3rd round of the playoffs anyway. So
seriously though, I think we used to, I could be completely making this up. Didn't we used to have somebody who was part of the Blues Ice crew that used to listen to this show back in the day? I don't know if they still do. If that person does, you probably know. So let us know. We'd love to know how long it takes in case Andrew's incorrect.
I know somebody who probably would know. If Chris Bray is listening, chime in because he listens to the show from time to time. He used to work for the Blues and he worked at Scott Trade at the time, I believe. He worked in the media department. So I think he would probably know. So he was actually the friend of mine that stood in for Barrett Jackman in the team photo one year when Jackman wasn't there. So my buddy stood in for Jackman in the team photo, and they photoshopped Jackman's head on top of my friend's head for their printed photo. And if you notice that Jackman that year, his body type looks a little different than his actual body looks. So that's pretty funny. Money Puck has the Blues at 0.1% chance to win the cup. It seems extreme to me. I mean, 0.1%, but this would obviously shoot up big time if the Blues would happen to knock off Colorado, assuming whoever they play in the first round.
I think it shoots up depending on how the West changes. If we see Colorado go to the top, I can see the Blues going up to maybe at least a 0.3 or 0.4. Right now, I think you look at the season record and they say, well, the Blues are going to get stomped. But that's just not how it's going to happen. Yeah,
well, that's what Money Puck goes by. Money Puck goes by formulas, so that's a huge part of it. And it's still 0.1, yeah, and it's the lowest. That's the worst percentage out of all playoff teams. Winnipeg is 0.4, Montreal is 1.2, Nashville was 1.8, Minnesota's 2.9, which is crazy because the Blues have owned Minnesota this season, and they have to go through Colorado or Vegas too.
I was going to say, you mentioned the formulas. The Blues have dominated Minnesota, but the Blues likely don't see Minnesota.
Right.
Likely, the Blues will see Colorado and Vegas.
Right, but if Minnesota plays Vegas in the first round, I'd be curious to see if their Stanley Cup percentage goes up quite a bit since they have
I
played very well.
I bet St. Louis and Minnesota chances both go up if Colorado takes number 1.
So 2.9% Minnesota right now. So we'll see what it is after tomorrow's game for Minnesota. I'm curious. A little bi-curious. So a $20
Aren't
bet.
we all?
Yeah, aren't we all? A $20 bet on the Blues, if you look at the playoff odds, which is different than the money puck percentage of winning the cup. A $20 bet on the Blues right now, I think, would be something like $700 in winnings if the Blues won the cup. So it's a fun little gamble. $20.
Do you guys have betting? Do you have sports betting in Illinois?
We have a racetrack in Illinois. Yeah, a horse track. Yeah.
So you do?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Because I'm pretty sure we still don't have it here in Missouri.
I'm not. But you can go online and do it if you want. Right?
But I'm blocked from doing it in Missouri.
There are VPNs you could use.
Well, yeah, but legal-wise.
So come to Illinois, place the bet, and then go back to Missouri.
I'll come. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come to your... Actually, I literally could walk to Illinois from where I live. So maybe I'll just do that.
I made a nice little chunk of change. Not a lot of money, but I bet on the finals a few times last season and on games I had hunches on, and I won a nice little. And I bought that cup in the corner over there with it, so that was pretty fun. So up next on the show, we'll have Today in Blues history and our rapid fire hockey tidbits after this message from our good friends at Center Ice Brewery. Whoops. It would help if I actually had the Center Ice Brewery spot ready to go. There we go. Center Ice Brewery is St. Louis's only hockey-themed brewhouse. Stop on in during the next game to experience the ultimate hockey fan brewery while sampling various hockey-inspired beers, such as Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, the Rotating Pale Ale Series, or seasonal offerings such as their Imperial Stout, their Lime Sherbet Sour, and much more. While you're there enjoying any number of their fantastic beverages, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood and the actual penalty box door from the old barn. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game, or any game. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in the tap room. Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues. Please drink responsibly. Center Ice Brewery is St. Louis's only hockey-themed brewhouse. Stop on in during the next game to experience the ultimate hockey fan brewery while sampling various... Well, if I didn't drop the ball on that last little promo. I was reading the actual YouTube chat. That's why I missed the mark. But Andrew Tyson made a good point, and AC Generator followed up with another good point. I don't know why I didn't think of it. That after the divisions are decided, the winners, it probably 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. Reseed. Best record versus worst record, second best versus third best. Like is that official though? I don't think so, but I think that makes sense to me.
I think that's what they're planning right now, and I think that's what we've seen for most people, but it's not official.
Right, and I don't think they want to say that because based on they want to have their options open in case COVID screws something up or if travel is an issue, keeping teams closer together if they can. So I get that aspect of it, but what they said is makes complete sense, and if everything's fine travel-wise for the most part, then that's what's going to happen, I would imagine. I'd be shocked if that seems so simple to me, and I don't know that's it. We'll see. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, May 12th, 1986. This is a good series of Today in Blues history.
May 12th, 1986. That date sounds really like something Blues fans should know what that is.
Well, I'll tell you, it is 35 years ago today. It's not just the anniversary; it's 35 years. So it's like I don't know. It's arbitrary, nice number. 35 years. The Monday Night Miracle.
I believe that's the cardboard anniversary.
Actually, it's after midnight, so it's yesterday. It's no longer Today in Blues history. Damn it. Still, it's when the show starts. That's when it counts. 35 years ago today, the Monday Night Miracle happened. Up until 2019, this was considered by many Blues fans to be the greatest Blues game of all time. Probably still is by a lot. of fans. Doug Wickenheiser scores in overtime of Game 6 versus the Calgary Flames, completing a fantastic third-period comeback to stave off elimination. The Blues ended up losing Game 7 in Calgary. I think it was 2-1. But they scored late. It was 2-0. They scored late to make it close. Tried to come back again, but came up 1 goal short in their bid to make the Cup final for the first time since their third year in the league. This game was amazing to me, but I've said this before. It never sat well with me that the greatest game in Blues history was in a series that we lost. That always bugged me to death. So it was personally, it was never my favorite Blues game or the greatest Blues game to me, because the fact we lost the series takes it down a notch. It's still top 5. It was still top 3 probably for me all time, but not the best. The best for me was the overtime Game 4 sweep of Chicago in '93, where Belfour lost his shit. And okay, it helps that I was at this game, but okay, why this game doesn't get more credit for being like the best Blues game of all time when you consider everything that went into this game and this series. Chicago, they were our arch rivals at what may have been the peak of the hated rivalry, to be honest. It was so bitter back then. And that time there were fights in the stands. The fans hated each other. It was the rivalry was at its peak as far as that era goes. Chicago had the best record in the Campbell Conference that year and were a Cup favorite. The Blues got in the playoffs on the last day of the season, essentially a number 1 seed versus a number 8 seed nowadays. So David versus Goliath, and it was a fucking sweep. It should have been one of the greatest sports moments in St. Louis history, and certainly, in my opinion, the greatest Blues game ever up until that point. So for some reason, it doesn't get the full credit it deserves by a lot of people. I mean, it gets mentioned, but before 2019, it was considered the number 1.
There's two that, and again, not talking about 2019. There's two that come to mind for me. And you're going to mention one of the players here in your next note for Today in Blues history, but is 1999, right? Pierre Turgeon. He scored a big goal. He scored a big goal against the Phoenix Coyotes.
Yeah, that was great.
Brent Fuhr had a big shutout in that game. We mentioned it when we interviewed Mr. Fuhr on the show. That was to me one of the best. I mean, because I also consider the Blues were down 3-1 in that series, and they came back. And Jim Schoenfeld, head coach of the Coyotes, who by the way has not coached in the NHL since.
Well, you can't after that.
He guaranteed victory in Game 7. Jeremy Roenick had a broken jaw and still played. He came back to play in Game 7.
He wore that weird jaw protection thing on his helmet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the Blues came back, and again they went to overtime. Ricard Pearson takes the shot from the point. Pierre Turgeon scores the big goal, and just jubilation. I mean, I remember in St. Charles, and again, this is the first round of the playoffs. This goes to show how starved Blues fans were for playoff success. The Blues won that game. I was in my house in St. Charles. My dad and I both ran outside, and there were people shooting off fireworks. I mean, it was a huge deal.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. How does the Monday Night Miracle beat that game as far as so before 2019, obviously
it was a home game.
That changed. Okay, okay, but still, I mean, that shouldn't matter. To be honest, it's the greatest game in Blues history. For so many was the Monday Night Miracle. Great game, not knocking it really, but there were better ones. And I don't think that's just me being my opinion. I think, God, that Game 7 against Phoenix, that could easily be the top one. I think Monday Night Miracle is probably number 3 on the list.
Go back, and again, maybe it's because in that era, that's 1-0 era hockey. But for me, that's the time of hockey I love. I love defensive battles. So this was just a great game. And the other one I was going to mention was 2001. I've mentioned before, my favorite game I've ever been to, Blues sweeping the Stars. And Eddie Belfour, your common denominator there. He was the goalie for the Stars that time. So Blues won that one. I think it was 4-1. Chris Pronger scored a big goal in the third. Scotty Young scored an empty netter. And I remember literally, and I tell this story all the time, I remember just being a kid, and that was in the second round, going to the first time the Blues had gone to the third round since the Monday Night Miracle. And I remember the guy next to me, we won, and I was, 2001, I would have been 16. And this guy's probably in his 50s. And I just reached over and I hugged him and like picked him up out of his seat. And I was like, oh my God, that's not my dad. My dad's on my right. This guy's on my left. And so I like looked over after I set him down and I looked at him like, I'm sorry. And he just goes, no, this is great. And like, we just went nuts. And it was just the greatest thing ever. So those two games for me, at least in my fandom, I put those ahead of the Monday Night Miracle.
Yeah, I mean, I get the nostalgic, sentimental thing with Monday Night Miracle, and then Wickenheiser, the whole emotion attached to it with him, especially after he passed away. Because that's his biggest goal in his career. So, that game's. I mean, that game 7 against Phoenix. It's hard to top that one. And you mentioned that. Now I'm like, well, hell, maybe I bumped the Game 4 sweep against the Hawks down to number 2 because of that. I mean, yeah, all things considered, being down 3-1 in the series, Schoenfeld guaranteeing the game, Fuhrer pitching a shutout.
The story of Fuhrer, him saying, "Just get me one, boys. It's all I need."
Yeah, so much.
That literally is sending chills down my spine as I speak.
What's one of the greatest games in Rangers history? Game 6. What do you say? If we win tonight, I guarantee we win Game 7.
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't he guaranteed it, and he scored a hat trick in that game.
Well, he said, was it if we win tonight, I guarantee you we win Game 7, or whatever. He guaranteed Game 7 win.
I thought he guaranteed a Game 7 win.
I thought there was a caveat. I thought I said win tonight, I guarantee we win Game 7.
Look. I'm looking it up. Game 6 guarantee. You're right. Let me look here.
Because he said it, win tonight, and I guarantee you, we win Game 7. So, and that's essentially what, I mean, Fuhrer kind of did same kind of thing. He goes, just get one, guarantee we win. So. Messier
delivers on his guarantee. The New York Rangers will defeat the New Jersey Devils in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, scoring 3 goals in a 4-2 victory in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
That was his hat trick was in Game 6? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. May 12th, 1956. Happy 65th birthday to Bernie Federko, which Jeff mentioned earlier on the show. Born 1956 in Foam Lake, Saskatchewan. Drafted first in the first round, 7th overall in the 1976 entry draft. Inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2002, which was long overdue at the time. It was a while before he got in. Still the Blues all-time leader in points with 1,073. Spent 13 years with the Blues, putting up 352 goals, 721 assists. He also leads the Blues with the worst plus-minus in team history at a minus 123. Eric Brewer is 6th at minus 75.
Eric Brewer might be 6th in your programs, but he's number 1 in our hearts.
I think average plus-minus per season, if he played 13 years like Federko did, I think his plus-minus was something like 140-something. For the Blues. So he would be if he played 13 years here, if the averages played out, he would be the all-time plus-minus leader in a bad way.
Yep.
May 12th, 1996. I should have said friend of the show, Bernie Federko, when I said that. I always forget.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the shoe. May 12th, 1996. St. Louis Blues, the one and only St. Louis Blues, beat the Detroit Red Wings in Game 5 of the Western Conference Semifinals 3-2. Brett Hull got his 63rd career playoff goal and passed his father, Bobby Hull, and became the second Blues player with 100 playoff points. When Gretzky scored his last goal as a member of the St. Louis Blues in this game, Yuri Himalev got the game-winning goal in this game. This game was the game that got St. Louis all in a tizzy. If you remember this, Jeff, they had trailed 2-0 in this series against Detroit, got whooped in Game 2, 8-3, and then they rattled off 3 straight wins. And this was the third of the 3. So in overtime. So they coming home for Game 6, up 3-2. St. Louis thought they were going to the conference finals. You saw on all the gas station marquees, this Go Blues, everywhere you turn, everyone's putting up Go Blue stuff. It's fantastic. the city just rallied around this team as they stormed back in the series. But Detroit won game 6 4-2 in St. Louis, and then Yzerman scored the legendary double overtime blue line goal on John Casey to win game 7 1-0. Jeff, do you want to take a stab at who was on the ice for the Blues? What line was on the ice for the Blues when Yzerman scored his 2 overtime goal? Now, we all know Gretzky flubbed the puck, didn't handle it properly, right? And Yzerman took over, so we know he's on the ice. And I'll give you okay. So you go. Can you name the rest?
Yeah, it was Gretzky. It was Gretzky, Zach Sanford, and Patrick Berglund.
Oh, you know what? If Ruber was coaching, he'd find a way to put Zach Sanford in that game.
Even though it's like 1984, right? I mean, you look back, and Zach Sanford was the one that was on the ice at all times.
Yeah, 96. He was probably He was probably 10 years old.
I don't even. He's younger than that.
5 years old.
I was about 4. I'm gonna say was the Gretzky line clearly, but I don't know. I'll say Gretzky, Hemlev, and Anderson.
Well, you're missing a player. Gretzky, Hemlev, Anderson. I'm talking the defense and offense. Now,
McKinnon.
No. Now, who tried to block? Who stood up to block the shot?
Oh, that's right. That was Murray Barron.
Right. Who was his partner on that shift?
Oh my God. Was it McInnes?
Yes, it was. So it was Gretzky, Corson, Hull, Barron, and McInnes.
Wow. That's a damn good 5 players on the ice there.
I know it.
So real quick, you mentioned Yuri Himlev. I just want to, I don't know, in 300 episodes, maybe I've told this story real quick. When I was a kid, the year after that, it was actually that summer. I remember I was looking at a Blues roster. It was like listed in the newspaper for the next season, and Yuri Himlev was not listed on it. And I was like, I liked that guy. What happened to him? So I actually and man, I'm dating myself here. I wrote a letter to the Blues asking what happened to Yuri Himlev. Why is he not on the roster? And about 2 weeks later, I got a letter back, and I even remember who it was still from. Member of the front office, Renee St. John, who I still kept in touch with until I was probably about 18 or 19. She was a very awesome lady who worked in the front office. She was the one who responded, and she literally said, I still have the letter somewhere. I should find it and post a picture. She said in the letter, the Blues no longer feel that Yuri Himlev can compete at a level that they like. So we are paying him to not play for us. That is how she worded it. Basically, we bought him out, is all she had to say.
Right. But
she said we are paying him to not play for us.
Right. How old were you, though? I mean, she's probably trying to...
96, I would have been 11.
See, she's probably not bought him out. Maybe she thinks, that might not make sense to 11-year-old. I wasn't like most 11-year-olds. I understood what a buyout meant, but it's just funny. That's how she worded it. It was fantastic. You know what? That response via snail mail was quicker than the response we got back from the Blues via email for our inquiry about what we had the other day.
That's true. Yeah, it took how many months?
It was about 3 weeks, or maybe a month.
Was it 3 weeks?
It might have been a month.
I feel like it was longer than that.
It might have been a month. Yeah. So
yeah.
Times have changed. Snail mail is faster than email.
Yeah.
We got some rapid fire hockey tidbits here. The Red Wings, their point leader this season, only scored 2 goals. How often do you see that?
Who was it?
I had it up
was
earlier.
Was it? I'm gonna guess Tyler Bertuzzi.
He had 20. He had a lot of assists. He had like 27 assists or something. But
that's pretty hilarious. I actually did not see that.
No, yeah. For your leading point getter. For the Detroit Red Wings, let me open it up here. Their point getter is 22 goals, 24 assists. Philippe Hronek. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Roenick, huh?
Yeah.
Where's man, why am I not seeing? Oh, he only played 9 games this year. Tyler Bertuzzi. He must have been I think he was hurt, maybe.
Fabry
Anyway,
is hurt. now, I think.
Dylan Larkin, 44 games, only 23 points. That's kind of surprising.
They're a bad team.
They were really bad. Man, again, I know that people said that the Blues may not have fared well in that Central. I think the Blues dominate that division with Tampa, even with all the injuries. That just, to me, was not a very... And I know Florida. Florida had a great year. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but
Carolina did too.
I think... Yeah, I think Blues are better. I think Blues could beat Florida. I think Blues could beat Carolina. I think the Blues could have dominated that division personally.
It's going to be interesting because nobody has played outside the division. So it's so hard to determine who's better. It's like comparing different eras to see, Howe is, Orr is better than Gretzky. It's different eras. How are you going to compare that kind of a thing? And that's kind of what this is. Comparing teams against each other that have never played each other this season.
It's going to be really interesting in 2094 when the St. Louis Blues bring Brett Hull to the future and see how he plays in that division against the Slashers, because that's going to be really interesting to witness.
Yeah.
Different eras,
Right.
If you don't know what I'm referencing, you are not an old Blues fan.
Luke Henman becomes the first Seattle Kraken signing in franchise history. Their expansion draft will take place on July 21st. So, congratulations to Luke Henman. Trivia question.
Well, another trivia question. Let's see if you remember it.
Oh, God.
Who was the first Vegas Golden Knight player? Do you remember that?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
I don't know why, and I don't think I'm going to remember the Kraken guy, but I am going to, for some reason, this name is stuck in my head. The first Vegas Golden Knight was Reed Duke.
I wouldn't recall that, no.
Similar thing to Luke Henman. He was he was signed shortly after they officially became a franchise, and I don't even think he's played an NHL game, but for some reason that name is stuck in my head.
Reed Duke. It sounds like a...
Reed Duke.
It sounds like a fake name for a hockey movie. Reed Duke. Tough guy.
Sounds like a member of the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
One of the Bash brothers.
Or somebody out of Major League if we're talking baseball. Reed Duke.
Best friends with Roger Dorn.
The Coyotes won't resign head coach Rick Tocchet. His contract expires June 30th. Got to think this hinged on the team not making the playoffs, right? I mean, had they gotten in, he'd likely been retained, maybe. 57-year-old.
Not even just not making the playoffs, just the way they ended the season. God.
Yeah, they tanked. 57-year-old Tocchet was named as the Coyotes head coach on July 11th, 2017. In 4 seasons with the club, he led the Coyotes to a record of 125, 131, and 34 in 290 games. Last season, Tocchet led the Coyotes to the playoffs for the first time since 2012. So,
but again, that was that extended playoff weirdness.
Yes, right. True. Very true.
Still, I think Rick Tockett's a fine coach. I think he'll end up somewhere else.
Land on his feet somewhere.
He will, but that's not surprising after the year they had. They honestly, I said this again. I've said this every week for the last month or so. They had no interest in making the playoffs. The way they played. That is how it looked.
It didn't seem like it.
Yeah. So I think that's the right move for the Coyotes. You got to start making a couple moves and get guys that'll play hard for you for a full 82 games.
Rangers fire head coach David Quinn after 3 seasons. The new general manager Chris Drury fired coach David Quinn and 3 assistant coaches Wednesday after they missed the playoffs with one of the NHL's up-and-coming teams. The move is the first major one from Drury, who took over last week after the team fired popular president John Davidson and general manager Jeff Gorton to start the front office overhaul. So Rangers have been in the news a lot lately for a team that's not going anywhere this season.
Yeah, no kidding. They. I don't have a problem. I mean, I think Quinn's had well, you've got it here. He's had 3 years. I have no problem. They're ready to make the next jump forward. They made a couple free agent signings. I think they're ready to make the move to being a playoff and maybe even a Stanley Cup contender in the next couple of years. I think they'll go out and get a guy like a Rick Tocchet. That wouldn't surprise me. But part of this makes me wonder if it's a complete overhaul after. It's like, you know what? We fired the team president. We fired the GM. Both those guys are the ones that brought in Quinn. Let's just get rid of him too, and let's completely change everything.
He was 96, 87, and 25 during his 3 years in New York. Jack Eichel is on the trade block. it's just, but Buffalo is such a shit show. They basically aren't letting Eichel get neck surgery when he wants to get neck surgery.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Fuck you, trade me." So someone suggested, I don't know who it was, a trade of Thomas, Kyrou, and Dunn for Eichel. I don't think they included a draft pick. I think they probably have to. I don't know. Do you? Okay, as Armstrong, do you do that move? Thomas, Kyrou, and Dunn for Eichel. Assuming we retain Dunn. Yeah, I know. Me too. That's the problem. So you have to dump somebody else.
Salary concerns me just because you'd be having a lot of money tied up in Tarasenko, O'Reilly. You'd have to re-sign Eichel, Parayko. I mean, all of these guys are making a lot of money. So it would. The problem with getting rid of all three of those guys is that's three guys who are good and can play depth roles if you need them to. Jack Eichel's a number one center. So you already have that in O'Reilly. I don't know. I just don't think it's a necessary move for the Blues. I think if it's something Buffalo is willing to entertain, you at least consider it. But I don't know. It's not even a talent thing.
You don't have to resign Eichel,
the Blues.
Eichel is under contract through 25-26.
Okay, yeah. Well, still, I mean, he's making good money.
$10 million.
So I just think, I just think salary doesn't work. But I will say this is one of those instances where it's salary, I think, that stopped me from making that move, because I think a lot of people would say, well, there's too much talent going the other way, and they're great, and it would suck to lose that. But it's just, you don't need another number one center. I think Ryan O'Reilly still has a lot of good years left in him. So I just don't think it's a necessary move.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't bring Bozak back. You'd move Thomas and Kyrou. You'd be losing some depth. But and let's say you lose Dunn to Seattle. So if Dunn's going to leave anyway, essentially then it's Kyrou and Thomas for Eichel. And then I guess Bozak you throw in there. That wouldn't be enough salary on its own either. So you have to free up something somewhere else. And sign the RFAs we've got. So who is what we got? Schwartz, that maybe that might want to be resigned. Kyrou's an RFA. Well, he'd be gone. So is Thomas.
You got Hoffman,
Barbashev. Hoffman, if you want to. Sanford.
You would, I mean, if the Blues just tanked this year and fell apart, okay, maybe you consider that. But I think the way they've bounced back, and plus, I mean, the question you really have to ask yourself: how much better does Eichel make this team versus a Robert Thomas making this team?
Yeah.
I think that I'm not saying that Thomas is equal to Eichel. I'm just saying the roles they play, I don't know if Eichel is that much of a bigger importance to this team than Robert Thomas will be.
Well, let's say Thomas makes he's due for a raise. So this year he's making just under 900,000. So let's say next year he gets a couple million. I say he gets like 2 point something per season, 2.5. It's like a 4-year deal or something. I don't know. Probably more than that, right? But anyway, so is Eichel $7.5 million better, or $7 million if he gets $3 million, whatever it is going to be, better than Thomas? I mean, and Kyrou, because you're losing some depth too. I don't know. I mean, Eichel's a great player. I mean, but I think losing some depth and having a clear salary, and I think Vegas, because they made the Pietrangelo acquisition, and they had to rearrange their roster a bit. Still played great this year, but they've had cap issues. They had to play too short the other night because they had cap issues.
They played 3 short a couple nights before that.
So
they played with 2 less forwards and 1 less defenseman.
I thought the 3. I thought they played 1 less a couple times, and then they played. I heard they played. I watched part of the game where they were too short.
Something else happened at the end of the season where they had to play 3 less. I think it was like a week ago.
Was that when Martinez got hurt and they didn't have time to bring somebody up, and they had 2 guys they had to hold out for salary too? I don't know.
All I know is that I watched the game and I remember them saying they are less 2 forwards and 1 defenseman. And it's like, they couldn't do anything because they were strapped by the cap. And I don't want to see that with the Blues. I like having 18 players trust.
Right. Yeah. I mean they're still they were still winning games. They're still playing well. How long do you keep it up? And you can't keep going to that well. I mean, I don't think that matters in playoffs. There's no salary cap in the playoffs, so there's no.
No, you'll always have 18 dressed.
There's no salary in the playoffs. Players don't get paid in the playoffs, so that's not an issue then. So does Buffalo make that trade? Would you want Thomas, Kyrou, and Dunn?
Well, and again, the other question is there's going to be 30 other teams that are probably interested in Jack Eichel services at the very least.
Well,
even a team like Pittsburgh would be like, yeah, we'll entertain that. The successor to Sidney Crosby, why not?
It's a $10 million contract, though. It's going to eliminate a lot of teams. Teams.
But I don't know. I know I've seen people say he's going to Boston for David Pastrnak. I don't even think Boston makes that trade.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, I think I prefer Pasternak's style over Jack Eichel's. So I don't make that trade.
Yeah, why would Boston do that?
I don't know. I don't think they would. But I'm just saying, I think you're going to see some pretty major offers. I think comparatively speaking, I think there's going to be a team willing to give up a lot to get a name like that just so they can sell tickets.
Brad Marchand led them in scoring this year.
Well, he's a good player.
He's a good player.
Fucker.
He's a great player.
He's a good player.
29 goals, 40 assists, 69 points. Of course he gets 69 points. Of course he does.
Dick.
Bergeron had 48 and Pastrnak had 48. I don't. That's weird. How much does he make? Pastrnak. You can vamp. I'll look this up.
Oh. All right. Well, the only thing I was going to vamp with is one more tidbit that was not mentioned.
Okay, stop vamping.
Okay, go ahead.
And Pastrnak makes $3.5 million less than Eichel too. That's a stupid trade. That's a dumb. Why would they do that?
I don't think they would. I think that's just fan talk.
And Pasternak's got 2 more years after this year on a contract. Whatever. Fans are weird sometimes.
Let's see. Andrew Tykeson talking about Eichel. He's no 40-goal Hoffman.
That is true. He is not. Few players are.
Oh, Bill is never going to live that down.
I think he was riding the high of the Hoffman.
I don't blame
news.
him one bit.
Yeah.
I was excited. We were all excited.
Yeah, and I thought for a second maybe he forgot it was a shortened season.
I think that too. I really do think he thought that.
And with that said, I thought, okay. If we have a good season and him and Thomas are clicking, okay. I'll. That's a
listen back to that episode. He makes that claim, and then you say,
right,
like there's a pause, and you say, even in a 56-game season.
I know.
And then even if you watch the video, Bill kind of you could see him kind of think like, oh shit, and then he's like, yep. He's like, sticking to my guns. I got to do it.
See, in a 56-game season, I would have said, if you would have said, 27 goals, I've been like, okay, that's
That's
a
pretty
number
good.
we can play with, right? That's a
Yeah, right.
solid, yeah. But 40 goals, woo!
I stand by it. If he scores 40 goals between regular season and playoffs, I will buy Bill an authentic Mike Hoffman jersey.
Right, right.
So
No,
we'll
I
see.
mean, sure. I mean, he only needs 23 more goals.
We'll see.
He needs
We'll
a
see.
double his output plus 6.
Yep.
In the last game of the season. Oh wait, including
Well,
playoffs, right? It was including playoffs.
including playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still
My
I
last point that I want to make for this show is something that I wanted to mention again at the end of NHL Tid-Bits here. For those who did not see, the Tampa Bay Lightning made history a couple nights ago. They started 3 black forwards in their regular season finale against the Florida Panthers. They had Daniel Walcott, which is his first NHL game, Matthew Joseph, and is it Jamel or is it Gamel? I think it's Jamel.
I'd err on the side of Jamel.
Yeah, they were out together for the opening face-off, and they didn't even know that they were going to be starting the game until literally right before the puck dropped. Tampa Bay coach John Cooper, a St. Louis connection, by the way, he used to coach St. Louis Bandits. He says, first of all, they're all in the NHL for a reason. They deserve to be here and have worked their tails off to have them all together. They had a little chemistry. Moving forward in the league, you hope it isn't a story anymore and will be the norm. It was a pretty cool moment for all those guys. And 100%, I loved seeing it again at the end of the regular season. Why not? If you have all 3 guys on the roster, do it. See what these guys got. You know, it's a huge moment for them. It's a huge moment for their families, and especially Daniel Walcott playing in his first NHL game. Really, really awesome move by John Cooper and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And again, to see those names go down in history, you know, a guy like I'm drawing a blank on his name. The first Willie O'Ree. Yeah, Willie O'Ree. You know, when he first played in the NHL, do you think he ever thought he would see that? I mean, that's amazing and really cool. And kudos to Tampa Bay Lightning for making that happen.
What John Cooper said about hopefully this kind of thing isn't news anymore because that means it's the norm. That is exactly what I was going to say. When Tony Dungy became the first black head coach in the NFL to win a Super Bowl, they made a maybe it was the first black coach to coach in a Super Bowl. Either way, it was a big deal. It was a story, and they kept talking about it. And I was like, and I thought about it, I'm like, this shouldn't be a story because it should be a norm. It shouldn't be that it's so rare. You know what I mean? It should be like anybody else winning a Super Bowl because it happens. You know, it's not rare. It's not the first time. It's and this is a perfect example. John Cooper's, spot on. That hopefully this kind of stuff is not news in the future because that means it happens all the time. So
yep,
hopefully we get there.
Very cool moment, and just again talk about history of the NHL. That's something that will go down in the history books. Very cool.
And that's all I've got for this show, Jeff. Anything else? Any more comments? Matthew,
Andrew Tankerson says McDavid's stupid season on the talking points list. Yeah, 103 points now.
We talked about
Dude's
him
unbelievable.
Last week we talked about it.
He's ridiculous.
So, and he also said Matthews hit 40. Matthews is a different player than Hoffman too.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anyone is it's not out of this world that he got 40. I mean, it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he did it. So, I think if Hoffman were hit 40, that'd have been much bigger news than Matthews hitting 40.
I agree. Well, how about David Perron being a point per game player?
Yeah, 50. No. Oh wait, yeah, he got 2 points tonight, didn't he? And he
had 3 points tonight.
Yeah, this site hasn't updated with points yet. So he had 55 points in 55 games. Do you sitting tomorrow?
No.
To be a point a game guy.
I think well, and you look at the roster. Let's look real quick. So only 4 guys have played in every game this season. Justin Falk, Braden Shen, Ryan O'Reilly, David Perron. I think you play all 4 of those guys. Even if you just have them step out for one shift and go back and don't play the rest of the game, I think you let them play. I mean, that's a testament to them to playing every game this season with all the injury issues we've seen the Blues have.
Yeah, but they rolled 4 lines tonight. They kept shifts short. They kept the playing time down to not overwork the guys. So, I mean, if they dress them tomorrow and don't play them that much at all, it's going to tax their lines a little bit. But I mean, I get playing every game is a badge of honor, I guess. But shoot, I don't know. I'd sit them. They played every game. Rest them. I mean,
I think a guy like O'Reilly doesn't want to rest.
Well, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything.
Maybe you consider it with a Falk, a Shen, and a Perron, but I think honestly O'Reilly's probably gonna be like, no, let me play. I want to be out there.
The Blues made their statement tonight. They don't have anything to prove against Minnesota tomorrow. They beat Minnesota. They won the season series. They whooped them last tonight. I rest your guys. I'm nothing to prove. I don't care if you want to play. Rest him. But yeah, I'm sure he'll play. I mean, you got to have somebody play. So, but Kostin plays tomorrow. I'm sure, I'm surprised. Well, Joshua is on the taxi squad, right? So I bet you he plays tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure, right? They always expand the roster right before playoffs, right? Because I don't know if you saw the list of Boston Bruins scratch the other night, healthy scratches. I mean, it was literally half their roster.
But
so
did they expand it? Because I guess they did. But why'd they send Joshua back to the taxi squad then? Why wouldn't they just have him stay up here?
I wonder if taxi squad, they don't do the waiver thing with that at this point. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is it seems like rosters have already been expanded.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
We play Minnesota tomorrow night, or if you're listening on Thursday, tonight. So the game means nothing, but we'll know who we play when Colorado plays LA tomorrow night, 9:00 Central. So I guess go Colorado if you want to play the Avalanche. And Austin Lynch says, Ponder, meet me in Discord. After the show, of course.
I will. Don't worry.
Yeah, if anybody else listening wants to join in the Discord server, it's letsgoblues.com/Discord if you've never joined before. If you have, you're probably already hooked up. So support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming products. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745 and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their awesome tap room. While you're in there enjoying a number of their fantastic beers, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood, located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis. It's one of the best places to watch a Blues game. That's centericebrewery.com. Please drink responsibly. That'll wrap up episode 35 of season 9, which is franchise episode number 301 all the time. The original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thank you to everyone who listened and watched over the tonight, and we hope you've enjoyed this show as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Next time you see me, I will be a Ponder Cup 2-time champion. Let's go Team Ponder and let's go Blues.
Why do I feel you're gonna be eating those words next show? Good luck, sir. Good luck in the tournament. You too, Austin.
You.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available. A look at Porch. I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues.